Tonight, Premier Moe voices support for Alberta's latest pipeline proposal. Also in Alberta, fair deal now! Striking teachers are now locked out. Dozens of ancient Indigenous artifacts are donated to the Chief Poundmaker Museum and Gallery.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Monday, October 6th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Hi there, thank you for watching. A proposed pipeline in BC is drawing reaction from several provincial leaders, including Scott Moe. Moe says the pipeline would help everyone in Canada, but as Alexander Kwan tells us, some say Moe's federalist stance is self-interest.
Alberta Premier Danielle Smith wants an oil pipeline that would run from bitumen-rich Alberta to the coast of British Columbia. But BC Premier David Eby says he's opposed to any such project. And now Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe is offering his own thoughts.
I would just say that this decision on the approval of this type of very, very beneficial infrastructure lies solely with the federal government. There is no BC coast, it's Canada's coast. There are no BC ports, they are Canada's ports.
This is a discussion that is increasingly relevant as Prime Minister Mark Carney pushes for nation-building projects. One expert says as premiers stake out positions, it's important to remember they are doing it because of self-interest.
Yeah, I think a lot of the decision about what's a national priority or when provincial jurisdiction needs to be respected is opportunistic. And it's difficult to maintain some sense of national unity because premiers will often be playing to the voters back home.
And that's especially relevant here in Saskatchewan. Premier Moe has previously opposed projects and policies that the federal government has argued is beneficial to all Canadians. That includes the carbon tax and clean energy regulations. Our expert says that inconsistency makes it hard to build trust.
I think citizens see some posturing in it, and other governments say, can we really trust these premiers to make commitments around, sharing costs and risks if they aren't really consistent in terms of how they talk about federal and provincial powers.
Saskatchewan NDP leader Carla Beck says Moe's comments are sowing division instead of building unity. On Monday, BC Premier David Eby released a video on social media addressing the proposal.
What the Conservatives in Alberta are pushing is an entirely political creation in the lead up to their election.
The first 5 nation-building projects selected by Carney's government did not include a pipeline. It's not clear what could be selected in the future. Alexander Kwan, CBC News, Regina.
Carla Beck was actually busy this weekend with her party's convention, and she says it was the largest in 25 years. In a leadership review vote, Beck received 87% support from delegates at the Saskatoon event. She says the party is united and energized and focused on the next election. The party has also formed a transition team to prepare to become the province's next government.
As I told delegates this weekend, I understand this is a bit unusual, and I certainly am not taking anything for granted. We've got a lot of work ahead of us to continue to build trust with the people of this province, continue to grow.
Beck acknowledges the party only holds seats in Regina, Saskatoon, and northern Saskatchewan, but she says the party saw growth in other areas in last year's election. It is day 1 of the Alberta teachers' strike, and it didn't take long for the school boards to make their move. They served the 51,000 teachers with lockout notice. As Helen Pike reports, students and parents are concerned about how long this will last.
The sign on the doors of this Calgary school reads, "Notice, classes are canceled." The teachers' strike is underway. On the first day, some students already worry about the impact.
If we're not back by next Monday or Tuesday, that's when I'm going to start getting more concerned.
Parents, too, are waiting to see how this pans out.
Day by day, that's all you can really do. You adapt, right? Draw on family, draw on support. That's what you do.
How long will the strike go on? Here's how the Alberta Teachers Association puts it.
We have no end date in sight or a goal. I mean, we'd have to see how negotiations go. We'd have to see how government responds to the fact that teachers have stood their ground. They said they were going to go on strike if we did not get things in our system that are going to fix it, and they did it.
Strike centers are now open for ATA members. This one in Calgary serves teachers from the Calgary Board of Education, Calgary Catholic School District, Rocky View Schools, and the Palliser School Division. It's a place for union members to come together and get support.
Connecting with updates, whatever we're hearing from our provincial association, connecting people to food supports in Calgary. Now, we know that traditionally hasn't been something our members have needed, but teachers are not being paid, and it's on average about $480 a day that a teacher is losing for each day of the strike.
The provincial government says it's eager to get back to the bargaining table and settle this.
So we want to be able to have a fair wage settlement that's very clear, but then let's get talking about how we address classroom conditions by making commitments to hire more teachers and hire more education assistants. But if they just come back and say, give us more money, that's not going to address the foundational issues we're hearing from teachers.
Treasury Board and Finance Minister Nate Horner says the ATA needs to get back to the table so we can resolve this matter swiftly. When asked about whether the province plans to order teachers back to work, Horner's office said the priority right now is supporting families. Back to work legislation, the statement reads, is a last resort, not the first option. Helen Pike, CBC News, Calgary.
The trial of a man accused of killing Megan Gallagher is now underway at Saskatoon Court of King's Bench. He's the final person to be tried in the case. Gallagher went missing 5 years ago. Her body was later found in the South Saskatchewan River. On Monday, Roderick Sutherland pleaded not guilty to manslaughter, confinement, and offering an indignity to Gallagher's remains. In the Crown's opening address, prosecutors told the jury they will hear Sutherland did not act alone. It says he let a group of known gang members use his garage to, quote, question Gallagher. The Crown says Sutherland saw Gallagher tied up in his garage and returned another time to find her dead. It also alleges Sutherland helped make plans to dispose of her body. The jury trial is expected to last 2 weeks. It's an important moment for members of the Poundmaker Cree Nation. A significant amount of ancient artifacts have been returned to a museum on the reserve. As Ashwarya Duda reports, the donation comes from a man with a special connection with Poundmaker's relatives.
After decades in private hands, they're back on the land they came from. Dozens of Indigenous artifacts, thousands of years old, hammers, tomahawks, scrapers, and arrowheads, all returned to Poundmaker Cree Nation. Floyd Fable is the Poundmaker Museum curator, and Milton Tutusis is a descendant of Chief Poundmaker.
We're a bridge between the past, we're in the present, and we're for the future, because we need to keep educating our people, but the general public, and as best as we can with the most information that we have.
The museum is located on Poundmaker Cree Nation in west central Saskatchewan. It honors Chief Poundmaker, a Plains Cree leader jailed for treason after the Northwest Rebellion of 1885. He was finally exonerated in 2019. The museum honors his efforts to save his starving people. This latest donation comes from 86-year-old Andy Whiteman, a retired school teacher from Cutknife. He and his wife found many of the ancient tools and weapons themselves.
We started out wandering sand hills, and just about every one of them has been picked by either Jean or I or a member of our family. And some of them have been donated.
For him to do this and to return these items as the temporary keeper, protector of these items, because he was approached by museums and other archaeologists and collectors for them, and he refused to turn them over. And he said, these are not yours.
Whiteman used to teach both Fable and Tutusis 50 years ago, and their connection lives on.
He was one of our favorite high school teachers, and there weren't many back in the day. No, like Floyd said, he was a good educator, connected well with us. I think back now, he is very respectful and genuinely interested in us as First Nation students.
Tutusis says the retired teacher's gift reflects Poundmaker's spirit and reconciliation in action.
When I think of the word reconciliation that's being thrown around the country, especially the last 10 years, Chief Poundmaker was way ahead of his time. He was already practicing reconciliation.
The museum plans to expand to protect and display more pieces. Many are still scattered around the world. For Whiteman, it's a gift to a place and to people he's always called friends. Ashwarya Duda, CBC News, Saskatoon.
A dreary and cool start to your week right across the province. Temperatures sliding closer to what's normal for this time of year. But if you haven't dug out your warmer clothing yet, maybe a bit of a shock to the system. Ethan will have details on what's to come this week in his forecast after the break. Stay with us. To get a sense of how breast cancer care and service delivery is going in our province, we're joined by Health Minister Jeremy Cockrell. Thanks for making time for us, Minister Cockrell.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Sam.
I want to start out by asking you, if you were to rate how breast cancer care is being delivered in Saskatchewan right now on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it?
You know, with something like that, Sam, it's hard to give a number just because, you know, everybody's experience is a little bit different, you know, depending on even where they live in the province as well. What I would say, though, is improving. And, you know, when I look at what we've been doing in recent months and years in terms of getting the Breast Health Center in Regina up and running, you know, continuing to work through the Breast Health Center in Saskatoon, some of the recruitment efforts we've had in terms of being able to train breast radiologists out of province and then bring them back home to Saskatchewan, I would say it's improving. It's not a 10 yet, but we're still working away on that.
Okay. From a ministry point of view, though, how would you rate it, or how would you say that it's improved? I know that every individual patient's experience is going to be different. That's inevitable. But on an operating level, how would you rate it?
Well, I think the key piece around improving the improvements that have been made in recent months is really around expanding capacity, both on the screening side, and there's more improvements coming on that. We have a second mobile mammography bus starting up in January. And, you know, again, especially if you live in an outlying community or in the north, rural community in the southern half of the province, that mobile mammography bus is really key from a screening perspective. But then the capacity as well on the diagnostic side, once we get into the Breast Health Center, working with our partners in Calgary as well to make sure that services are available to patients. And then the key thing, going back to screening just for a second, is really lowering the age of eligibility. We're at age 45 right now. So if you're a woman who doesn't have a family history of breast cancer, isn't showing symptoms, starting now at age 45, you can be part of the breast check screening program through the Cancer Agency, and we'll be moving that down to age 40 by next summer.
So not going to rate it, huh?
Well, I'd say it's, as I said, it's improving. It's interesting. I mentioned off the top, Sam, I think, or before we got on, you know, I was at the CIBC Run for the Cure in my own community here on Sunday, and you know, met women who are still going through their journey, met women who are, you know, 10 years past, conquering breast cancer. And so it's such a variance, I would say, for individual patients. At the end of the day, we're looking to lift the boats of all patients as they navigate the system.
You can listen to Blue Sky on Tuesday on CBC Radio 1 from 12 to 1 p.m. to hear our full conversation. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we'll talk with survivors and people affected as well. Well, weather specialist Ethan Williams joins me today. I know it looks like we've got the blues today, but the weather's really not that bad. We're just sliding into seasonal.
Yeah, this is where we should be this time of year. We've just been spoiled with this beautiful summer weather this last little while that it's felt like a real slide into fall really quick. And we had some pretty chilly overnight temperatures. You know, keep in mind, normal for this time of year in southern and central Saskatchewan is around the freezing mark. So yes, we were a bit below seasonal to start the day. In Regina, hitting -5, feeling more like -10 though, with just a little bit of wind. But it was actually Mankota down in extreme southern Saskatchewan, which was our cold spot, minus double digits there, feeling like -12 along with Val Marie. Now, temperatures did manage to rebound through the southern half of the province as we got into the afternoon, though hanging back in portions of northern Saskatchewan. In some places, tough to get above freezing, especially in the far north. Through south and central, you see a bit of a range here, closer to the 10-degree mark. Didn't even manage to crack double digits in places like Prince Albert and Melfort, while we got up to 15 degrees along the southern part of the province. You can kind of see where that cooler air is. It's being divided by this cold front attached to this low pressure system, which is in Manitoba. That has also been triggering off some showers at times and some cloud cover through southern portions of the province as we've gone through Monday. That system is now going to start to move out, and high pressure begins to move in. That'll clear the skies, and that'll mean another chilly night for us once again as we go into early Tuesday, likely into the minus temperatures for a lot of us throughout the province. But then that high pressure, even though it starts to move out, it'll keep skies clear for the next couple of days through south and central. Bit of cloud cover starting to move in for northern sections as this low approaches from Alberta as we get into Wednesday. That'll bring some light to moderate rainfall through extreme northern portions of the province, and then that moves out. High pressure redevelops over Alberta, starts to move our way, and keeps our weather pretty quiet as we head toward the weekend. So again, the rain largely confined to closer to the northern border, maybe upwards of 5 millimeters in that area, but you can see how it pretty quickly drops off, especially as you get into the Churchill region of the province. Really not expecting any rainfall there. But these systems sort of moving through over the next couple of days, going to keep things breezy at times. Bit of a breeze Tuesday through the province, but I think things really starting to pick up as we get Wednesday night. Could be some gusts in excess of 50 kilometers an hour out a little bit further west, and some lingering breezes as we get into Wednesday afternoon on the eastern side of the province. But the warm weather is really going to return as we head toward the end of the week here, as that high pressure settles in underneath this nice ridge that is starting to build in through the prairie provinces. And that'll last us a good portion of the rest of the weekend, probably the weekend as well. For Regina, we may even get above 20 degrees on Wednesday. Still going to be nice in time for the weekend, including for the Rider home game on Friday. And then things come crashing down a little bit at the end of the weekend there as we see some showers and back into the single digits. That feels a little more like fall. In Saskatoon as well, some very nice temperatures the next few days here. Quiet weather overall with some breezes on Friday and Saturday. So we'll have some summer-like weather to start the week, Sam, and then fall really kicking into gear.
All right. Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
Saturday Night Live returned to television over the weekend, and in the season premiere, 5 new cast members debuted, and one of them is from Canada.
I'll take pop royalty for 400.
He was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota in 1958. Duke!
Who is that?
See, that is a question, but you also need to say who it is, bud.
It's Prince.
That's Ontario's Veronica Slowikowska in a rendition of the show's iconic Jeopardy sketch alongside host Bad Bunny. She's the first Canadian on the cast since Norm Macdonald in 1998 and the first Canadian woman to be on the show since Robin Duke in 1984. It was an exciting weekend of baseball for Blue Jays fans.
Just a hint of a strut coming off the mound here in the 5th. And Trey Savage is going to reap the rewards of a job well done here today. Look at Vladdy giving him an ovation, a hug from Kirk. This is going to be definite.
The Rogers Centre on its feet on Sunday. A standing ovation for the Blue Jays rookie pitcher, Trey Savage. He dominated the New York Yankees, not allowing a hit in 5 innings, and he got plenty of support at bat, including a grand slam by Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Jays win 13-7 and lead 2-0 against the Yankees as the series now shifts to the Bronx. The University of Regina Rams and University of Saskatchewan Huskies are neck and neck, tied for first place at the top of the Canada West Football Conference at 5-1. The Rams fought through early struggles on offense to grind out an 18-12 victory at home over the University of Calgary Dinos on Saturday, and a late touchdown gave the Huskies a 31-24 win over the Alberta Golden Bears on Saturday night in Saskatoon. Both teams head into a conference-wide bye week. Then both of them are back on the field October 17th on the road. All of this leading up to a Vanier Cup in Regina on November 22nd. We'll be back after the break. It wasn't pretty, but a win is a win, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders continue to lead the CFL with an 11-4 record. It came down to the very last minute Friday night, even though the Riders were leading 20-3 over Ottawa early in the fourth quarter, until things fell apart. Thanks to some hustle from AJ Ouellette and a field goal from Lewis Ward, final score 20-13 for the Green and White. Quarterback Trevor Harris says tough conversations were had.
Self-inflicted wounds will kill you, and we can't have that as we get on the stretch, because you get in the West Final, you get in playoff games, and you can't have those.
You know, just win the next one, man. That's really always the same message throughout the entire season, which is perfect for this week anyway. So, you know, we have an opportunity to go and win a game this week, and then things will fall your way if you continue to do that each week. So, we're just focusing on going out and trying to beat Toronto. Period.
The Riders have 3 games left to clinch the West Final, which means they'd have a bye in the first round of the playoffs. But first up, the Argos. The Riders host them Friday night at Mosaic Stadium. And Ethan is back with one last look at your weather.
Well, going to be a nice night, I think, for the Rider game. But before we get there, we have some chilly temperatures to get through in the province overnight as we head into Tuesday. Could be as low as about -6, -7 in eastern sections of the province, especially around the Parkland region. Just above the freezing mark if you're heading out a little further west. I think we'll see skies begin to clear overnight as high pressure starts to move. And that is the same through the north, where we've seen some rain and some snow at times on Monday. Temperatures there just around freezing to around -5, I think, for the most part. Band of cloud cover we're going to watch moving through the north tomorrow. I don't think this is going to bring much in the way of moisture, but might spoil the sunshine a little bit into the afternoon or so. Temperatures generally in about the 5 to 10 degree range, maybe some double digits for western sections of the north. And things beginning to warm up once again through south and central, already into the mid to upper teens by the noon hour in western sections, and maybe a couple of 20s on the board, although you'll notice further back in east central Saskatchewan, struggling still to get into those double digits. So for some, feeling more like summer and a bit more of a fall day further east, Sam.
Hey, there's still lots of potential for a nice Thanksgiving weekend outside.
There sure is, yes.
All right. Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
That is it from us. For more news anytime, you can always head to cbc.ca/sask or subscribe to CBC Saskatchewan's YouTube channel. You can find all our interviews there as well. You can also download the CBC News app on your smartphone or tablet. Thanks so much for watching.